Let's talk a little bit about the 2028 Democratic field for president, shall we? We talked somewhat about Andy Beshear last week. He sort of launched his campaign basically last week. Another person who's getting a little bit of publicity this week is another governor, this one of Maryland. His name is Wes Moore. Moore is a rising figure in the Democratic Party, widely discussed as a potential contender, although he has vacillated on whether he intends to run. A lot of people consider him to be probable or possible candidate. He is facing, unfortunately for him, increased scrutiny over several key claims in his personal biography. There is some recent reporting in the Washington Free Beacon. A reporter named Andrew Kerr has raised some serious questions about Moore's long-standing public narrative, both in terms of his academic credentials and his own family history. Now, we can go over this, and you might ask, well, Scott, Joe Biden fabricated 90% of his background, and he became president. Does it really matter all that much? Well, of course it matters. We don't know these guys. I mean, yes, they're elected at the state level, but there ought to be some kind of an investigation about what they say about themselves and whether it's true or not. Let's look at it here. Let's look at the academic piece first. So Moore went to Oxford, and he's always made some claims about his time at Oxford. They're a little bit suspect. He has described his Oxford studies as a cornerstone of his expertise. And he has characterized himself as the foremost expert on radical Islam because of work that he did there. However, investigative reporting shows that aspects of this claim are at odds with the Oxford's records. According to archival information and university confirmation, the thesis Moore cites as the basis for that expertise cannot be located in Oxford's library. The university says he never submitted a final thesis there. On top of that, and maybe more interestingly, there's the issue of his family history and a story about his great-grandfather. Moore repeatedly tells a story about, it's a powerful and dramatic narrative, frankly, that his great-grandfather, a black minister in South Carolina in the 1920s, was run out of the country, out of the whole country, by the Ku Klux Klan, and that this episode shaped Moore's family trajectory and his own views on justice and patriotism. He has shared this story in interviews with national media. He talks about it in speeches. It's a big part of the broader arc of his life story. However, the Free Beacon has looked at the historical records, and they've talked to researchers, and it paints a different picture than the one Moore has been telling. Church archives and newspaper accounts at the time indicate that Moore's great-grandfather, whose name was Reverend Josiah Johnson Thomas, did leave South Carolina, but not in the middle of the night, not in a secret flight from violence, but as part of a very public and orderly church transfer to his native Jamaica in December 1924. There's no mention in the records or newspaper accounts of threats from Klan intimidation or any covert escape under the cover of darkness. It's just that he was taking a different job that had opened up in a different place. Moore was asked about this by Nora O'Donnell from CBS News. Here's how he responded, cut 19.
I think about this in this frame. If there's a couple things that the people of this state know about me, it's that I'm a person of honor and integrity. I take that very seriously. I was raised right by my family, and I was trained right by the Army. And so when I'm watching this game of politics, and frankly, this is what I think people hate about politics so much. It's this politics of personal destruction, where as a person who has nothing, neither to be ashamed of or nothing to exaggerate about my life, that this is the thing that conservative right-wing blogs want to attack, particularly when it's something that Oxford University has verified already. This is the thing I think people hate about politics.
I don't know. I didn't hear much of an explanation there from Wes Moore. Probably going to get asked again. We'll keep an eye on this story and maybe talk to Andrew Kerr about it in the very near future. When